Welcome once again to the Allon Exchange with Jay and Britany Hagee. They are the co-founders of Allon Planning Partners. I'm your host, Spike Spangle. Every single week, we work on retirement planning strategies. For those here in your local community, you are an independent financial advisory firm. You focus on retirement strategies. And what I've loved is that today you have collected more questions that you get. Literally, folks in the office, we were talking about it in our pre-show. You're like, yeah, Spike, we really just got this one recently. Britany, how are you doing this week?
Doing well, thank you.
Fantastic. Jay, yourself?
Doing wonderful, ready to go.
Excellent, excellent. So one of the first questions that I've got queued up here is, what funds can I be invested in? I've heard you talk a lot about asset classes, but what exactly does that mean? Loved this question because we hear this phrase all the time. You need to be in lots of asset classes. You need to be diversified. But I don't know. I think we need some baseline
Or
definition.
you'll have TV commercials that'll say, hey, you need to be in this particular asset class or this particular asset class, or back everything up with gold, or what should I be doing? You know, so what can I really be invested in is a core question that we get quite often. And so there literally are 5 asset classes that you can be invested in. Now, Warren Buffett would say investing's simple, but it's not easy. And that's what we try to tell folks. It's simple because you have 5 asset classes. You have cash, you have commodities, you have stocks, bonds, and real estate. And so commodities are things like gold and oil and silver and wheat and things like that. You obviously know stocks, equities in companies, bonds, which you're holding the debt of those companies or the government in some cases, and treasuries. And then cash is actually an asset class. So it's part of your full overall investment plan. The reason it's simple is because those are the 5 areas that we have to choose from. We have 5 areas that we can choose to invest in. What makes it not so easy is the timing of when we're in those things, the specific goals that we have. You know, within those asset classes, there are literally thousands of investments that we dig through, from annuities to mutual funds to ETFs, so single stock investments. What kind of bonds should I be invested in? You know, REITs, things like this. So there are all kinds of different assets that are and investments that are thrown at us all the time or marketed to us. And what should we actually be invested in for our plan?
What he just mentioned there, those are actually the vehicles. The REITs, the ETFs, the mutual funds, the stocks, specific stocks. Those are all vehicles. Annuities,
that's right,
insurance products. Those are all vehicles that are comprised of those different asset classes, right? So there is a real focus here at our firm, really, around diversification. We talk about that all the time. How you need to be diversified within those 5 asset classes, and how important that is. You know, and there's really 11 sectors within, you know, take equity. Yeah, absolutely. And making sure that we're diversified, not just within the asset classes, but within the sectors within the asset classes, if that makes sense.
That's why it becomes not easy.
So it's kind of, I like to talk about diversification as layering. It's really like layers of, okay, I'm diversified here, but what about the layer underneath that? Is there some protection there? And protection's the key. That's kind of the purpose of diversification.
So investing is more like a casserole rather than just throwing a steak on the grill, right?
Hey,
it's not just one option.
It's a 7-layer dip, baby. You got it. You got to layer it on.
And that's why when we get this question, we do our best to simplify it. We do our best to show people, hey, here are the 5 asset classes you have. Here are all the vehicles you may have heard of and kind of the options that we have in investing. Now tell us about your situation and what vehicle you should be utilizing and why, right? And we'll help explain that to you. So we try to take the complex and make it as simple as we can.
Well, and another way we do that, we talk a lot about how our assets are correlated. And a lot of people are like, well, what do you really mean by that?
That's right.
Basically, you don't want all of your assets moving in the same direction at the same time. So if you have one investment that's going up in value, you have another that's going down, they can kind of balance one another out, so that you're not taking losses in both directions, right? So you want to ensure that all of your assets are not moving in the same direction at the same time. So again, there's another layer of that you have to really consider.
So really broad question.
Yeah, I've read about this kind of philosophies that you're not trying to pick the one right horse a year. You're betting on every horse in the race.
That's right.
Because you never know which is going to go up or down. So let's be in everything. You said something interesting though. So we said the 5 different asset classes, but then we have the sectors. Because I didn't hear you, Jay, say, anything about healthcare or electricity or energy? Is
Right.
that's more of the,
Utilities,
that's breaking
consumer
things down
staples.
more into the sector areas?
So we start really 30,000 foot level with
Okay.
the 5 asset classes, right? And then as we break it down all the way to what you should be invested in, there are many layers in that casserole you talked about. I mean, and so asset diversification and sector diversification within those assets become the next layer, right? Okay. So whether it's technology, whether it's utilities, consumer staples, defensive stocks, whatever that may look like in every sector, you know, it can be overwhelming and confusing to folks. And that's why we want to take the pressure off of you when you come in to sit with us. You don't need to be digging through every vehicle that you've ever heard of and ever seen, right? That's where we come in to help you pick those investments for your specific situation and your plan so that you actually get to the goal of living to and through retirement the way that you want to live.
So at Allon Planning Partners, what kind of diversification would you say that you usually encourage? Is it similar for everyone, or is everybody's situation and plan and investment strategy different?
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about it.
A big part of our answer to that would be to the stage of life that each individual is in. If you're younger and just beginning, the way you are invested is going to look very different than someone who is 5-10 years out of retirement or in retirement. It's going to be different based upon your stage of life. That's a big consideration.
That's
in
number
beginning
one.
This conversation.
But then we strictly customize plans. So even if you come in and your neighbor's 57 and you're 57 at the same time, you have the same birthdays, you're going to have different assets. You're going to have different desires and different wants
income,
in life.
different expenses.
Everything's different, right? So there is no cookie cutter approach that we have when it comes to diversification or where you should be invested. It really is customized to you, and that's what you should be doing in order to make sure that you're living out your retirement
Because again,
plans.
as we mentioned before, you've got to consider the emotional aspect. I know I keep going back to this, but you've got to consider, how is the way that I'm invested impacting me, my lifestyle, my emotional health, my mental health? Am I staying awake, worried all the time about my investments?
Right.
And if that's the case, hey, you may need to take a second look at how you're invested, because you don't have to live that way. You don't have to live in this mode of constant fear. If this happens, I'm up the creek, man, I'm in trouble. You don't want to live that way. Nobody needs to live that way.
And most folks that come in with us usually are afraid because they don't understand what they're invested in. They have been given maybe a sales pitch, or maybe they've been given an overall view of, hey, here's what you're holding and here's what you're not, but they really don't understand. And so we try, again, like I said, make the complex simplistic so that you actually understand what you're invested in. We want you to walk away crystal clear of the investments that you hold, and not just about them, but why you hold them. That's just as important. And that's what's going to give you the peace ultimately, is you understand a plan is in place and this is why I have the assets that I have.
Can you provide that for folks in the form of what? A report? You can show them risk? Can you print it out? What exactly is the process in doing risk evaluation?
Yeah, there's a report that we do put together that provides all of that information, the type of risk you're taking, the amount of risk you're taking. All of those details is part of what we take a look at and really analyze where you are to see if that is what's going to help you get to where your desired end, really where you want to be.
And it's not just talking through it, it's a written plan.
Yeah.
Make sure that you have a written plan and that you understand it in writing, not legalese, not terms that you don't understand, but a written plan that you can simply follow and that you can put trust in that you are walking in the right direction. So yes, we put all of this, you know, I can go into the reports that we have, right? But we put all of this in writing so that folks can see, not only do I have a plan, it's tangible, I understand it, and I'm going to abide by it. That's going to get you to and through retirement.
Britany, why don't you tell the folks out there, I know we've got the phone number right underneath my face right now. We've got a QR code down there. When people do reach out to you, you'll help them out with this risk analysis. Is there a cost to that? To evaluating their investments for them before they even know what their risk is?
There is not. This appointment is completely complimentary to you as the viewer, as the listener. We sit down and provide this report, give you all the information so that you can make an informed decision about your investments, about your plan, about your retirement, about your whole financial picture. It's up to you. 866-691-7317. Again, 866-691-7317. Call today for your complimentary consultation.
More of the Allon Exchange with Jay and Britany Hagee right after this.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have. By running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go, and who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review today.
Welcome back to the Allon Exchange with Jay and Britany Hagee. They are the co-founders of Allon Planning Partners, financial retirement specialists right here in your area. Every single week we try to answer your retirement questions. They give us the answers, and it's been fantastic. I was a little surprised by this question, and maybe it's because we're all around the industry. You help people in the offices all the time. I help educate them. Somebody asked us, what are RMDs? And how do I prepare for them? And you know what? Any classroom, right? We always say there are no bad questions.
Yeah,
right?
it's a legitimate question.
It's a good one, right?
It's a legitimate question, and we had someone ask specifically last week, what is that? I heard that term. What does that mean? What's RMDs, and do they impact me? RMDs are required minimum distributions, and you actually get to an age where the government says, hey, you have to begin taking money out of your qualified retirement accounts. Now, that's another term people don't know. What does qualified mean? Qualified account means something that has been tax deferred, so like your IRAs or your 401ks, those types of accounts that you have received a tax benefit up front on, that you have deferred those taxes for so many years. The government says, hey, it's time to start taking those distributions. So you begin taking those. It used to be 70.5, and now it's recently been bumped up to 73, actually, as of this year, 2023. Secure Act 2.0 has made some changes specifically to RMDs, and the strategy and timing as to how you take that, you've got to begin them by 73, but it matters in where you take those from when you're talking about distributions, and there's a lot of caveats in that conversation. When you take them, how you take them. When you're looking at accounts like IRAs, you can aggregate those. So if you have multiple IRAs, you can take all of your RMD out of one of those accounts instead of having to take them from 2, 3, 4 separate accounts. Now, it's not that way with 401ks.
That's right.
You have to take those separately from those separate accounts. But that is a valid question. It's one we get, and we want to make sure we address.
But it's also valid
because
you don't want to mix it up. You don't want to mess that one up because it's a large penalty, right? So it was 50% was the penalty, like that you would be charged through the IRS, but they are changing it with Secure Act 2.0 to 25%.
Okay.
Right. So that's
still a big
they're
chunk.
alleviating, but still,
Yeah.
25%
for getting the
for
math
not
wrong.
taking an RMD.
Yeah, so 73 is great. Is this, I think, in my opinion, reaction to the fact that it's just we're living longer? So
That is
allowing,
Definitely.
because it's not. I don't think we're pushing it out because we're no longer in debt
That's
as a
correct.
country, right?
Yeah, it's not because they don't want your tax dollars. It's because they realize folks are living longer,
Yeah.
and they're going to be able to stretch it out longer into their elderly years.
A follow-up that I've got from a different question on this, I found in a different email, is what if I don't want to take those RMDs? What if I don't need those funds right now? So first of all, it's called required minimum. It's not optional
You have
minimum
to take
it,
distributions,
not
right?
optional.
But if you don't need the money for living right now, what could you do with that, even though you've got to start taking it
Yeah, we
out?
actually helped a client with this just recently, and were in that exact condition. Actually, 2 separate clients that we walked through this. One took those funds from their qualified accounts, and they actually reinvested them into another investment account so that it continued to produce some growth. But a second client who was in that same situation had to take those RMDs but did not need those funds. They had those funds sent directly to a charitable organization, and it was a tax benefit to them, and of course, obviously, a huge benefit to the recipient of those funds as well. So there's some ways that you can give to charitable organizations and things like that.
Qualified charitable distributions.
Right, that's what it's called, qualified charitable distribution. So there's some things that you can do to utilize those funds in many different ways that could also provide some tax benefit while helping.
This also walks us through the back door of a conversation we've had before about Roth conversions. If you had done a Roth conversion, you don't have to do RMDs from those
correct.
accounts, right? So that's another bonus
correct.
of doing a Roth conversion.
So yeah, we can go into that again, but the Roth conversion is important for a lot of reasons, but that is a huge benefit, is that they're no longer RMD eligible.
Right.
You do not have to take a required minimum distribution from those because you don't owe any taxes on those funds anymore.
They're not tax deferred accounts.
It's a huge check mark in the why should I have a Roth account and why should I convert.
Well, and one of the other things, I'm sorry, I don't really know the numbers. I can look in, and my Word account here is not going to tell me. What is it, like 3.5%? What is it the first year? It's like a 3%, but it goes up a little tiny bit every single year.
Every year it increases based on the expectancy of life tables that the IRS puts out. So, it starts around that 3.5% mark, like you said, a little bit more than that.
So we can probably Google that somewhere.
But it goes up every year. And so what they're trying to do is based on your life expectancy, they're trying to get you to deplete those accounts. So
with RMDs coming, and then another topic we've discussed before, the possibility of taxes, the likelihood of taxes going up in a couple of years. We call this the possible in retirement tax time bomb. You've got this ticking tax time bomb that's coming. So what do we do? If we know we're going to have RMDs, and if we know, you gave me a number before, like something at $20,000, if you make more than that, your Social Security gets taxed.
That's right.
What do we do then? Do we start doing those conversions so we don't?
The sooner the better, right? Because now they've given us till 73 because folks are living longer. The sooner you start planning on Roth conversions, the better. If you're 60 years old, if you're 62, if you're 50 years old right now, whatever that looks like, the sooner we can start planning before you hit that 73 mark, the better off you're going to be. Not only that, as I want to also hit that Roths, when you pass those on, even if you were to pass away and pass those on, they no longer carry the RMD for the next generation to have to hold over.
Right.
So it's a way that you can pass down and do estate planning better as well with Roth conversions. There's a lot of things to uncover through and benefits to uncover through Roth conversions. But not only do you not have to pay the taxes in your lifetime, now the ones you love won't have to pay the taxes in theirs either.
Britany, we're going to go out to a break real quick. Can you talk to folks about the review? What things will you talk to folks about? Is it just about the investing? We've mentioned Social Security. Will you take all of these things into account, including RMDs?
Right, yeah. Very comprehensive approach is how we attack this financial situation and conversation. So when you come in and sit down with us, we're going to talk about everything from your tax situation and tax planning. We're going to look at estate planning and make sure that's taken care of and covered. And we're going to talk about things like potential Roth conversions. Is there benefit for you in that? We're going to ensure that you have an income plan established, that you are covered for replacing your income when you do determine, hey, it's time to stop working. There's so many things we're going to look at in addition to, of course, making sure you're not overextending yourself and spending more than you're making. All of those things tie into financial health. And we want to help you get to a place of financial health and to continue that to and through retirement. So a lot of these, basically when you sit down with us, you're going to get a lot of questions because we want to ask, what are your goals? What do you want to do? What are your specific assets? And we take those and we learn, we dig, we understand more about your situation. And from there we can put together a creative and comprehensive financial plan to help you navigate to where you want to be, to and through retirement. Our number is 866-691-7317. Call today for that complimentary consultation. You can also use that QR code in the corner, pull out your camera, take a quick poke at that, and that will pull up our website. You can schedule your appointment directly from the website. You don't even have to pick up the phone if you don't want to. Reach out today for that consultation.
I couldn't have said it better myself. More of the Allon Exchange with Jay and Britany Hagee when we come back right after this.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Welcome back to the Allon Exchange with Jay and Britany Hagee. They are the co-founders of Allon Planning Partners, retirement financial advisors right here in the area. If you'd like your own complimentary review, and by review, I mean we're going to take a look at your investments, your taxes, estate planning, and I'm not just talking about if you have $30 million. Estate planning, answer this question for yourself. Are you leaving money to anyone? Then you need an estate plan. As long and as well as your healthcare choices such as long-term care, Medicare. That's what Jay and Britany help people with every single day. Call the phone number you see right here down at the bottom of the screen, 866-691-7317. We're going to continue with our listener and viewer questions. It says, look, Jay and Britany, I'm not a fan of the markets. Should I invest in gold?
Okay.
I'm trying not to laugh. I love this question.
Yeah.
We see the same commercials. It's probably
We
even
see
on
them
this
all.
channel here. We say, invest in gold, get out of the scary markets. How do I know what is a good fit for me?
Well,
Awesome
you know,
question.
being afraid of the volatility where we're at, it's okay. You're not alone in that, number
Right.
one, and it's not wrong for you to have some trepidation with
way,
what's going
sure.
on right now in the market, right? The issue I have with the single investment and one investment approach is no diversification whatsoever. You're going to put yourself in a major point of risk. No matter what investment that you're investing in, right? So I think the better approach there, besides diversification, is don't ask, should I invest in blank? Should I invest in gold? Should I invest in crypto? And I got a story for that one.
Oh, hey, oh, good.
Should I
we?
invest
Yeah.
in what? You should ask, how does blank investment, how does the stocks I own, how do the bonds I own, how does the crypto I own get me to the financial goal that I want? And am I diversified enough in this to where if one asset class tanks and falls through the bottom, that I'm going to lose everything I have in one
Because
fall
that's
swoop?
what you don't want. You don't want one bad day in anything to decimate your plan.
That's right.
Yeah.
We had a family come in and want advice from us. They actually wanted to take all of their IRA, and they had a pretty well diversified IRA from what I remember, and they wanted to put it all in one crypto coin, one
God.
crypto coin.
Completely.
And I
Their entire
begged them.
retirement nest egg. We're not just talking about like
Everything
a
they
portion.
had.
Their entire
They're in their
Oh,
50s.
my
50s.
God.
They're in their 50s. They're truck drivers. They, you know, made a decent amount of
Worked
money,
hard,
worked
earned that
hard to
money.
earn this money. They've got a good nest egg put together. And they said, Jay, I just don't trust our financial system. I just don't trust the markets. I'm going to take everything and put it into Bitcoin or a single cryptocurrency, whatever coin
Whichever
they were using
one,
at
yeah.
the time. You know, and I begged them not to do that. I said, please, you know, let us put
strongly
together a
advise against.
diversified plan. Let me show you why. And this was when a cryptocurrency was really high. This was the rage at the time. And they pulled the trigger and did that. I actually said, please sign this saying that I showed you, I give you a
that I didn't
diversified
even
plan.
discuss- yeah.
I did
Oh my
not want
gosh.
you to do this. And man, they are not in a good situation now.
Oh, no.
because
They've lost
the crypto market
60, 70% of the
tanked.
value.
75%.
and so-
75% of that account.
So it doesn't matter
is gone.
what investment it is. It could be the hottest one on the market
And,
right now.
and what's
It's not-
I
it's
don't
not
know,
worth it.
amusing, sad, ironic is that he did that. Ironic, I think that's the best word. He did that because he was afraid of our volatile
Afraid.
markets. Yeah, he's
Correct.
like, oh, I don't trust our markets. Really?
Did it out of fear. Did it?
But what about the commercials on gold? We keep seeing that stuff. It's always something, and I want to say usually pitched towards seniors. Get out of the risky markets. Your gold is always going to make money.
I'm not against gold. I'm not against even some crypto. I'm not against individual investments. What I am skeptical of is trying to be sold one investment vehicle, right? Or this investment vehicle, whatever it is.
Whether it's gold or crypto or an annuity.
Becomes your retirement fund, becomes your retirement plan. Planning is much more diverse than that.
Yeah,
Planning is much more
broader.
specific and broader than one asset class. So don't fall into the trap of, oh, I hate where we're at in the market right now. I'm going to go jump all into this one asset. I would never consider
Well,
telling
and that
anyone
kind of
to do
takes
that.
us into another facet of this conversation around fear-based decisions.
Yeah.
We see it all the time. People making financial decisions because of fear, because of that emotion that we talk about. And it is so prevalent. But that's when we can make mistakes. When we're in that fight or flight mode, that's when we are most prone to make mistakes. Now, sometimes that fear is warranted and there is a change that needs to be made. Sometimes it's just I'm an emotional roller coaster, or man, I just can't handle this market volatility, and you've got to consider that.
What was so interesting is that his fear pushed him into something even
worse,
more worrisome.
far
Even
beyond
worse.
what he would have experienced where he was.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
But if
fear-based
somebody,
decisions.
yeah, but if somebody comes to you and says, I want a lot more in gold, or I want a lot more in this, do you say, that's good, that's fine, but we might not be the kind of planning firm for you?
We're very direct in saying that,
Okay.
right? We're very direct, and that's why I even went to the extent of saying, please sign this, saying I told you not to do this, is because we want to give out well-diversified, holistic approach plans that are going to get you to your goals. Maybe not, the most risky, hey, this is the most hot topic, or something that's going to maybe take away the fear because I hear everybody else saying this plan. But we want to give a solid plan for folks' income in retirement.
Well, and there's a place in that within a financial plan. But that's the key word. There's a place for it. It's not the plan itself, right?
That's right.
It's a smaller component, or you take a portion of your funds and invest it into something like that. Absolutely, that diversification is a fundamental to how we operate. That's so important, but it cannot be the all of your plan.
Right. So I like that what you were saying before. If you're asking, is this the right investment for me? You're like, no. Does this investment work?
Yeah,
inside
how
my
is
plan?
this specific investment serving me? How is it working to my benefit? What goal is it achieving for me? Or what problem is this solving for me? That's a good way to ask that question.
So if you want to buy some crypto, call Britany. No.
We can talk you through it. Yeah.
That's not what we're saying at all. No, you want a diversified plan
That's right.
within all of the different asset classes. Thank you for covering so much different content on today's program.
That's
and I know
right.
you do that inside the offices every single day. Thank you so much. We'll be back next week. Folks, please call for your own complimentary review. It isn't about which one investment is going to get you to retirement. It is what is a complete plan going to do for you to include all of the different asset classes that are going to help you be and stay retired. Call and get your complimentary review. 866-691-7317. Thank you so much for watching the Allon Exchange. Jay and Britany and I will be back again next week.